Okay, so hopefully I fixed the audio problem. Did I fix the audio problem? Please tell me I fixed the audio problem, guys. I usually test this before. I didn't have time this morning because I was working on another project. So I'm hoping that this works. So we will see if you can hear me. Is it double audio? Please let me know how my audio is doing. But yeah, welcome back to Approach the Nerd. Sorry for the 8-minute delay. I want to talk about our season 2 theories. But I want to make sure that you guys can hear me okay. So is my audio doing okay? Say yay or nay. Is it repeating? So it is okay? Yay! Okay, cool. I don't know what that was, guys. I think my sound card had a moment because I was working on something earlier. I was actually editing a video for work, and I think something in my video capture program was holding on to my sound card. So when I was playing, it just took my input and just outputted it like speakers, which is insane. But you know what? It's all good. All right, so we are back. Good morning again, or good afternoon, or good evening, or wherever you are. If it's Saturday again, I'm all about this time travel thing. Awesome. We're going to talk season 2 theories. So what I want to do, so we can actually get this on a roll, I want to break it down by plot subjects. So I'm going to talk about my first theory, and then I want you guys to either give me your theories or tell me what you think about it. And actually, my theory is more about what I want for season 2, because I don't think we got a chance to really talk about exactly what we wanted to happen in season 2 in our last stream. So we're going to do it today. So here we go. Number 1, I want to know what Anacastia's plan is with the spree in season 2. And what I mean by that, her interaction with Scylla, like if you really think about how Anacostia was interrogating her, we went from being mean to threatening to pretending to have glass food, to having Alder come in to scare the crap out of her, to try to make her feel remorseful for all the people that she's killed, to bad mouthing her. Then we went finally to relating to her as an orphan to orphan, basically comparing sad stories about your parents dying to try and, basically get that humane connection with your quote unquote enemy. Which is what I think that Anacostia did. I don't think that Anacostia thinks Scylla is 100% bad, but I do think that she thinks that the things that she did was 100% bad. And it was. I mean, again, I always stress this. I get a lot of stuff for this, guys. Scylla killed 1,600 people plus Porter, and that's what we know of. We don't know what she did after episode 1's pilot. We know that she came to Fort Salem, but we really don't know exactly everything she did for the spree, because we don't know the timeline of how long she was in the spree. So she did some really horrible things. And so Anacostia separating the humanity that Scylla has from the deeds that she did is hard because she's a soldier. And if we believe Anacastia's story about her parents were so hardcore that they wouldn't even use the work to save their own lives when they're about to crash their car. So this does not sound like a woman who's going to be 100% jumping in bed with the spree. So I think she is embedding herself in, because she did mention in episode, I think it was 6, don't quote me on that, when she was sitting with Alder at the table. It was 6 or 7, and she was saying how she wanted to turn Scylla and then send her back to the spree as a double agent. I think instead, since that obviously wasn't going to work and Anacostia realized it wasn't going to work, Anacostia herself is going to be the double agent. That's what I think is going to happen in season 2 with Anacostia. What do you think? I was honestly wondering if we do succeed in taking down Alder, I would wonder who would fill that power vacuum. Will it be another one of the biddies, insane power tripping Petra, or another? It'll probably be Petra. Just to answer that question, it will be Petra. Petra is a I think she's more power hungry than Alder, to be honest, and that's saying a lot. So yeah, but if Petra Bellwether becomes a new general, God help him. Old threat similar to Alder, the Camarera witch hunters are literal Pandora's box. That is going to be a question, Nicholas, on my list. But I want to know what you guys think about Anacostia. Like, do you think that she's going to be a double agent? Do you think that she's going to be Like, is that her thing? Did she embed herself into this world to basically take them down? Because I don't think that she's going in there to just be, I'm now a spree, I hate the military. I don't think so, because she cares about her units too much, her cadets that just graduate. She cares about them entirely too much to join an organization that will be basically hell-bound on killing them to make a point. So, yeah, I really don't think that's gonna be a thing. But you never know. So that is my first question / theory for Fort Salem is Anacostia really spree, or is she just pretending? I also want to know if Raelle, since she has this connection to the mushroom, and they've already stated that they have like this eternal like connection with each other, where as soon as she touched the mushroom, it took her DNA and she got a part of its DNA. Does that mean that she is going to be able to spread the virus that the mushroom does? I want you to really think about that. If the mushroom can spread this virus or put this virus out into the world, and her and Raelle are connected, does that essentially mean that Raelle will be able to do the same thing? Will she be able to touch people she doesn't like when she controls it and give them the virus? Like a bioweapon? That would be messed up. That is just something that came into my head. I just really want to know. Let me look at some of the comments. I agree with you. It would really be cool to see the inner workings of the spree and see how Anacostia will struggle with keeping her people safe and also having them not seem suspicious. Absolutely. That would be an amazing plot. I would love that, because she would have to do what the spree wanted her to do. And essentially she would be acting as the spree, but she's doing it for the benefit of them. And if she wasn't able to tell Alder and them, they would essentially think that she was a traitor, that she traded, on Fort Salem. That would be a mess. That would be a mess. Let's see. Definitely double agent. She released Scylla with a purpose. Yes, because she followed her back to the hideout. Absolutely. I think Anacostia's plan is to gather intel about the literally insert into the spree so she could potentially take them down from within or die for the cause trying to, yes, for her cadets and girls. She's not going to take out her units. She's not. There's no way she's going to take out. She has given so much of herself to training these girls. She's not going to kill them. No, it's just not going to work. Hashtag Mama Anacostia. Yes, sir. So yeah, I do think that is a very good season 2 potential plot point. Now let's go to Raelle and her powers. And if we're talking about her connection with the mushroom, let's talk about her powers too in general. And I don't know why this is, but the mother kept saying, well, actually everybody keeps saying she has so much power inside of her, which we know she does. But I want to know. So I look at the 3 girls like this, and if you're not a Charm fan, or like the Ruby or the OG Charm fan, you probably aren't going to get this reference. But you have Abigail and Raelle are my 2 active power users, and then you have Tally, who is an inactive power. So if you look at the Charm universe, we have Prue, who was telekinetic, also Paige, later who's telekinetic, and Macy. So these 3 have extreme, active, violent powers. To me, that is Abigail. She is a blaster. It is a force push, controlling storms, yada, yada, yada. That is an active, extreme, violent power. You have the youngest, who is Phoebe, or in the reboot would be Maggie. They have visions. You have Tally, who basically is a knower. She has visions. And she also is able to see things like in that moment. So not necessarily the future. She's actually seeing things as they're happening. So she is a seer. That is an inactive ability. Very strong, but inactive ability. But then you have the wild card. So that would be the Piper / male hybrid. So Raelle is able to fix. She's a fixer. She's able to heal you. But what if she's also able to unheal you? What if her powers are almost like a yin to a yangs? How cool and messed up would that be? I mean, not only would she already have this ability, if she was able to like use some of the mushrooms ability and then pass on this virus, that would be insane. That would be absolutely insane. Not to mention, her connection with the mushroom also boosted Abigail's ability as a blaster. And I think it was episode 10. Yeah, it was the season finale, After the Storm, where basically Taylor Hickson said, Rael's actress said, that her and Abigail's power together was terrifying. And she said something along the lines of horrifying or terrifying. What does she mean by that? Like, does that mean when they're in proximity to each other, watch out? Because we saw the mushroom trails. We saw the black disease, amber stuff everywhere. What does that mean? So I want to know. I need them to tell us what Rael's power sets are, how they affect Abigail. Will they affect Tally once we get Tally back from the dark side of the Biddy world? Because that's pretty messed up. But how will this unit as a collective unit, would this be like some power of 3 stuff? I really want to know. I want to know. What do you guys think? When did we learn that the ice shroom passes the virus? I missed that. So basically, because she's connected, somebody told me in one of my review videos that one of the actresses had said that the reason that Rael was able to heal Kalita in the episode with not having any repercussions for it is because she's connected now to the mushroom. So basically, if Rael probably had tried to heal Kalita without touching that mushroom, she probably would have ended up like the other fixers. She may have died. She may have healed her, but it may have killed her. But because she's connected now to the mushroom is also absorbing all of the crap too. And it was established when there was like tests done that the necro teacher did where there's something she had and like the black virus was on it. So they're connecting the virus to the mushroom. And then we saw the virus spreading around, on the battlefield when they were in Altay, when they went to go save the Tareem. So I think everything leads back virus-wise to this mushroom. I don't know why. I just think it does. As for Rael, I think her powers are similar to Rapunzel from Tangled series, where she can only heal you and possibly restore your youth, but when she found out more of her powers, she can do that. Huh. I have to watch Rapunzel again. It's been Tangled again. I would love to see a power of 3 in Motherland. Yes. Power of 3 I really think we have a power of 3 in Motherland. It's like a charm versus like a Harry Potter type housing assignment. You got the fixer, you got the blaster, you got the knower. Everybody's from a different group. But yet these 3 girls seem to be like on top, like prodigies in these 3 groups of power. So it's almost like, we understand they're the main protagonists in this, but it's almost like they were meant to be together as a team because they are the top tiers of what they specialize in. So, and then Rael's just something completely different. We don't know why. I don't know. Her father's a civilian. Her mother is a powerful fixer. God knows what else that Willa can do. But for some reason, Rael is special, and we don't know why. And I don't know how the mother knows this. Maybe something she saw in Rael's childhood. I really want them to expand this into season 2. I think this is a very big opportunity to get some backstory on these 3 girls, because I really want to know. Because all we know of Abigail is that her whole family is like military royalty. There's nothing else. What's your connection to your father? Do you have any other siblings? Do you have a brother? Is there anybody else in your family that you're close to besides your cousin, unfortunately, who died? And Tally, is Tally from a long line of seers? Why is she such a talented seer? I just really want to know the backstories. Anacostia is great and loyal, always loyal to her duty, once loyal to Alder, then loyal to the truth. Yes, she is. She's very loyal. I think her disenchantment with Alder is definitely extreme now because she's seeing her for what she is. I think right now, Anacostia has now humanized Alder. She's not seeing this powerful, eternal general who saves everything and who, makes the tough calls, but at the end of the day is righteous and all of that. Now she's seeing a very flawed human, willing to do anything to get what they need and want person. And quite frankly, I don't think that Anacostia likes it. Let's see. Your favorite character? Mine is Tally. My favorite character. So, okay. I actually like all 3 of my main girls. So like It's hard. I can't separate them because I love Raelle and her like rebellious nature. I love Abigail and her leadership and she's actually like the big sister in a way, and she's actually done a whole 180 than she was at the beginning of this series. She is all pro the unit. Quite frankly, I think she's more pro the unit now than Tally is. And then I love Tally is willing to self-sacrifice and her sweet nature. She's very sweet and naive even now, because there's no way in heck I would have become a biddy for Alder. So she's very sweet. So I like all three. I can't. It's hard for me to pick between the three. They are my favorite. All three of them are my favorites. Yes, Kevin Jones. I hope Raelle's powers are explained in season 2. This is something they need to do. I'm tired of them telling us you just don't know how powerful you are. No, tell us how powerful. Tell us what they are, where they come from. That's what we need to know. Let's see. I think we'll find out about some kind of prophecy that will reveal these three are destined to destroy or save the world. That would be awesome. I'm down for that. If that's something we see in season 2, that would be awesome. I don't know if we're going to get that in season 2, but I love the fact that that is a possibility in my mind. So hope is real. My favorite character is Raelle. Stephanie. Raelle is amazing. I love Raelle. I love them all. Like I said, all three of these girls are very believable characters. They don't react the way you think a TV show character should react. They have real like flaws. Like with Tally's sweet and naive, but she was still, having a fling with Garrett, and he's married and she knows he's married. It's so anti what you think Tally would do, because she's the one that's like reading the army magazines and is by the book, and she's cheating basically. So like it's stuff like that. They make them real flawed characters, and I really love that. And Abigail went from only caring about herself and being self-centered to putting her unit above her mother and her family. That is a complete 180. So if you ask me who has had the most character development in all of season 1, it's Abigail, and hands down. Let's see here. All right, I still want to know more about Abigail's father. Does she have multiple fathers? Yeah, J-Man. When she said all of my dads are going to be there, I'm like, how does this work in this world? Because we know they have 5-year commitment marriages to procreate. But I mean, I was assuming that was between one guy and one woman. I didn't realize that multiple men were involved. So my theory is Petra wasn't satisfied with just having one. She decided to be above polyamorous and have 5 or 6 husbands, or 4. I think there were 4 men. I remember seeing 4 men that were talking to each other, but she never interacted with them, and they never interacted with her, and I never saw them interact with Petra. So I don't know if they're like the side squeezes, and they're just, I don't know. It's confusing. It is very confusing. I don't know. Okay, so let me ask my next question. I know we're still on a roll here. Willa. So Willa, this is what's really confusing for me. So let me just break this down. So Willa was supposedly she died in the battle with Petra. And I remember in the pilot, Raelle saying that her mother was like crystallized, or like her body was like glassed over, and they had to break her out of this like encasement, and I guess it destroyed her body. Now, if this is what Raelle was told, does that mean that the military and Alder knew that Willa was alive and was a traitor and was at the spree? Or was there like some mass spell or hallucination that everybody had on this beach where they saw Willa die, but obviously she's not dead because she's in the finale? What happened? This opens up a whole other can of questions here, guys. It's like Willa is alive, and if Willa is alive, then who lied to Willa's family? And why? Why didn't they just throw her under the bus? Willa's a deserter. She's gone. Why have this whole elaborate death description about her death? Have this letter written to Raelle, which we know is probably from Willa because she's trying to get her to join the spree, trying to get Raelle to join the spree. But why would the military go along with this? Why would the military 100% say that Willa was dead? I need answers in season 2. Somebody needs to explain Willa, and they need to explain it in detail. Like, how did she escape that mission with Petra? Because Petra seems like she's the type that's on it. She's like, you girls do this. She knows where everybody is, what everybody's function is, because she's power hungry and she likes being in charge. So she is a dictator in that sense. So you can't tell me that she's not going to realize that, Willa Collar is like not in her position or not where she's supposed to be. I'm confused. How did Willow escape? Let's see here. So I think because the witches kind of do what they do sex-wise, they don't really know who the dad is. That could be true, TCAT. That's sad, actually. Maria, do you think we're going to see any more songs from another tribe via Tally's through her Twisted Version link connection with Older? Because I would love to see what she would do with this. I love that idea. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they can. I'm assuming that the biddies are able to use Older's abilities, but then maybe Older's able to use theirs. I don't know I don't know how that goes. Is this like a rail mushroom thing? I really need them to explain that more. I don't want Tally to just be dormant, but let's be real. I want Tally not to be a biddy anymore. I need her to actually start rejecting Older. You know, maybe she's so strong, she just rejects Older and starts sending the years back. And so Older starts like losing her youth. And so she has to find another compatible biddy and then Tally's set free. That would be a perfect out in season 2. Make it so that Tally has an allergy to Older, basically. So she's fighting it and she can't control it. So they got to let her go. That's what I want to happen with that. Let's see here. Abigail character was recasted. She was from the pilot season. Like they had an original girl, like another girl playing her, but then I think Ashley Nicole Williams is the replacement actress. And I like her. I think for the most part she's very cool. So I'm happy with it. Do you think Willow will use her very own daughter as a mere tool for her own endeavors? Because I can see her using the connection she made with the fungi variant of a golem as a way for her to gather. Yeah, absolutely. Willow let her family think she was dead. So yeah, Willow does not seem to be the moralistic person that you would need to be a good mother. So I don't think that Willow would hesitate to use her own daughter in that way. Absolutely. I honestly feel like Rael's father knows more than he lets on. I felt that way in the pilot, in the finale when he was giving her the pin. It seemed like he wanted to say something to her. And that could just be me and I was just looking into it that way. You know how you just you want something to happen in the plot, so you just stare till it becomes reality. But I don't know, I really felt like he knew Willa was alive. And honestly, that's another strike against Willa if he doesn't know, because that means you put your husband through your death too, and that is messed up. I don't care what your values are, how just you think your cause is. You are destroying your family, and that is messed up. So I have a problem with that. Let's see here. Yes. Oh my God. I love that idea about Tally. Yes. Awesome. Also, I just love your Princess Leia puns. It's hot. I was like, hair down day. Nope. It's kind of hot in here. I think it's like 96 degrees outside. So 103 index, and my air is not as strong in this room. So yeah, I don't want to sweat on you guys, but thank you. Let's see. I want to see the unit do something that ends the Accord and frees the witches from forced conscription, basically accomplishing the spree's goal without the terrorist acts. Thank you. See, Lexaholic, that's my next one. My next thing is Scylla. Somebody asked me this, and then I answered this question, and then I watched another review, and I was looking at some of the comments on the reviews about Scylla and her role in season 1. And I was really freaked out by just how much stuff people are willing to forget because you love how cute a couple is. And so I have to say this. Number one, Amalia Holmes, if I'm saying that right, the actress who plays Scylla, is gorgeous. She has beautiful chemistry. She is a very talented actress. I have nothing against this girl at all. She is, as far as I'm concerned, she portrays Scylla excellently because she is a complex character. We see this. She is hurt. She is angry. She has all these rage issues. I don't know if she doesn't have a conscience, but she doesn't let anyone see she has a conscience. But there is that little vulnerability. We see it more when she's with Anacostia and when she's with Rael than any other time. So Scylla is a very complex character. But I need you guys to really think about this. Through episodes 1 through 10, has she shown any remorse? Not hesitation. I understand that Anacostia said she sensed hesitation when Scylla was about to go kill those 1,600 people we saw, on conscription day in the pilot episode, where she made the balloon explode and everyone jumped to their deaths. She hesitated. But let me put this to you another way. I have celiac disease. I love bread. I am allergic to bread because I'm allergic to gluten. So if I pick up some French bread and I hesitate to eat it, but I still eat it, I'm still going to have a reaction and I'm still going to end up in the hospital. If I die from this, on my obituary, it's not going to say she hesitated to eat the French bread. No, it's going to say she ate the French bread and this dummy died. So it doesn't matter if she hesitated. I want you to tell me through episodes 1 to episode 10, did she show any remorse for killing those 1,600 people or killing Porter? Because when Anacostia was interrogating her, and especially go back and watch episode 10, when she says, you murdered a lot of people, Scylla's response was, do you know how many witches died? Not, okay, maybe, yes, I feel like I'm right about the military. I think what the military does is also messed up, but maybe I shouldn't have gone and walked in here and killed all these people. Or maybe I should have made Porter jump to his death. Nothing about that came out of her mouth. No remorse about it whatsoever that we have seen. So my problem with that, do I want Scylla to have a redemption arc? Yes. Am I telling you that she is nowhere near having a redemption arc? Yes, because she has not admitted to anyone else, possibly even herself, that what she did was wrong. And that is my problem with people that are so pro Raelle and Scylla, because that is very toxic as heck. That is a toxic relationship. I don't care how cute they are. I don't care how much charisma they have. I don't care that you would die for this couple. One member of this couple is a killer and has not admitted to it. And that is the problem. So that's what I'm going to say about that. What did it say? Do you think that Willa, knowing that Scylla sincerely effed up multiple times and thereby leading a high-ranking official to one of their bases, will Willa turn and transfigure her into a fungi corpse? Does Willa have that ability? Is Willa the mushroom? That would be cool and creepy. Somebody actually thought that maybe Willa was not only a fixer but was also a necro, and maybe that's what Raelle is too, which would be cool. And if that's the case, yeah, I can kind of see that. I don't know. That's a good question though. I have to think about that one. Hashtag literal biological warfare. Yeah. So let me scroll up a little bit. I know I'm missing some. Sorry about that. I was thinking that maybe some of the spree is only using Willa's face, or they did not join the spree, but started their own group. I don't know. I really think that's really Willa. Because we always said in our reviews, it was weird that the spree knew so much about Raelle. Because Raelle is just like the hundreds of other cadets that basically got pulled into the military because they were, it was their age. They had to go. So like, why would you just randomly pick this one girl and decide that she's all powerful? And how would the spree even know this? They don't know this girl. But they would know it if Mama was in the spree and if Mama was high up in the spree or even in charge. Even though I still think that Alder founded the original spree. I'm just saying, I'm not letting that go. Let's see. One blonde, one brunette, one redhead. Huh. Yeah, they do represent every hair, trope. But hey, why not? I like the fact that the girls are so different, and the only thing that always amuses me is how tall that Abby is in comparison with Raelle. Tally's not. I think Tally is like 5'6". I'm 5'5", so Tally's probably like an inch taller than I am. And then I want to say the actress that plays Abigail is like 5'9". She's about 5'8" or 5'9". She's pretty tall. She's not as tall as the guys, but she's pretty tall. But when you see her in comparison with Raelle, I think Raelle's like 5'1" or 5'2". There is a huge height difference. It's hysterical to me, but I love it. Let's see. Do you think Raelle will follow her mom? I mean, to be part of the spree. So I hope not. I hope that Raelle, because she seems like she has the ability to have her own mind and she doesn't like what other people, she doesn't like when people tell her what to do and what to think. So I would hope that even though it's her mother, that she would look at that situation and think for herself whether or not she should be spree. Now, I'm not saying what the spree is saying is wrong. It is, and basically it is a form of slavery for witches. Witches have no choice but to serve the military if they're of age, unless they're the last of their line. So I get that. I get that 1,000,000,000,000%. But how they protest is by mass murder. And that is the problem. So I don't think Raelle will get in line with that. I don't think Raelle has the stomach to just mass murder people like that. When you really think about their methods, they're messed up. And I don't think she's going to sign on. Plus, she's going to be very angry that her mother lied about being dead. So there's going to be that too. Let's see here. At some point, these three will have to turn their backs on their parents. Willa and Abigail's mom are selfish parents. Absolutely. I think Abigail's already turned her back on her mother because she was supposed to go to war college. Her mother pulled the strings and she wasn't going to abandon her group. So she went with her unit. She chose her unit over her family. That's why I'm saying Abigail has made tremendous improvement. She is the most developed character in this season, in my opinion. And I feel sad for her because she didn't get to have like actual therapy after walking on her cousin being dead and blaming herself. She just had to internalize that stuff and move on. So she was able to still care about her unit and be functioning, except for when they went to City Drop and she was beating the crap out of that one instructor that was pretending to be spree. That was pretty bad. But she basically was able to choose her unit, to make her unit her priority, to stay with her girls even over her own trauma. And that is saying a lot about that character. So I love Abigail a lot. I love all three. But I'm just thinking out of the three girls, she has made the most character development of all of them. Let's see here. Go down. I completely agree. Scylla cannot be forgiven for all of her evil acts because she's a part of a ship that people like. She needs a heavy redemption arc. She literally has murdered innocent people. Yes, absolutely. And she justified it by saying that witches were being killed, which they are. But see, my understanding is it's the Camarera and the military that are basically, the military is sending them in positions to die, and then the Camarera are the ones that are killing them. So the people that they're killing, like the elderly people and the young people that were in the YMCA type community swimming pool, that was messed up. That stuff is messed up. You know what I mean? What the spree is doing is horrifying. It is. If that was happening in our world today, even the shippers would be completely horrified if they looked on the news and saw these people that were literally being killed like all the time because of a cause. That's terrorism. That is what a terrorist attack is. That is ISIS. I don't understand why people don't make that connection because they love the ship. But yeah, whatever. I feel like Scylla only showed remorse in response to Raelle, meaning she wasn't concerned until she thought of how Raelle would react to it. Yes. One of the points that was made was that she even said, oh, the bells in episode 10, the bells are ringing, signifying graduation and witches watching to their death. And that means that she cared. But what people forgot is that she realized Raelle was graduating that day. So if she truly cared about witches during the Bellwether wedding and Bellwether season, she would have been more proactive in warning them that perhaps, and even if it was the Camarera pretending to be spree, she did not do anything to ensure that this basically was not going to happen. And then on top of that, if it was not the spree, they told her to get Raelle to the beach at 6 o'clock. And at 6 o'clock, the wedding was attacked. So is the spree working with the Camarera? I mean, I'm confused. I'm really confused. How did the spree know that 6 o'clock they were going to be attacked if it wasn't them? So that's stuff you have to ask yourself going into season 2. They could be working together. And then if the spree is working with the Camarera who are hunting witches and cutting out their vocal boxes, how messed up is that? That you are pairing yourself up with a group that hates you. Makes no sense. So yeah, questions I have. Let's see. Doom. Hashtag flower power. The saying, you can't love anyone without loving yourself. I wonder how Scylla does it. Yeah. I mean, on some level, I think you can love someone without loving yourself. I just think it's hard to have a functioning relationship that way. I think we all struggle with that in life, honestly. There are all days when we're like, ugh, why? But I think Scylla is love starved. Her parents were killed at an early age. And so who else did she have? Like, I would like to know what happened to her after her parents were killed. Who took her in? Like, who raised her? Where did she go before she joined the spree? Because she obviously was dating Porter, and Porter was her teenage, crush, boyfriend, whatever. So if her parents were dead and she dated Porter, what are the timelines like? I don't understand. Because she made it seem like they went to school and she was like maybe middle school to junior high age. Why were you, like, where were your parents when you were dating Porter at 12 years old? As a mother, I'm kind of weirded out by that, but I'm on the assumption they dated when she was like 15, 16, 17, but then her parents, I think, should have been dead, right? So, like, who raised her? Did she stay with Porter's family? Did she stay with another family that was on the run? I'm confused. Was she in an orphanage? Where was she? So that's what I want to know, because obviously she wasn't one of the orphans in Fort Salem. So I'm just curious. Where did she go after her parents died? How old was, I guess they just need to explain what her exact age was when her parents were killed, and then where she went prior to running to the spree. Just want to know. Okay, let me move. Rayella. I'm actually more bell caller than Scylla. I am too. I am, especially episode 10. I don't know what it is. Now I get it, guys. I am queer, but I am not a queer person that goes around and says, you've got to be together and you've got to be together because that's what you need to do. I'm not like that. If we're going to go by labels, I am pansexual. I don't see gender. I will date any gender. So it's not you have to be this woman with this woman all the time. But there is something about Abigail and Rael. If you really look at them, just look at the stereotypes. Scylla and Rael got together like a normal lesbian couple. They got together. They were basically having sex by the end of the pilot episode, and they were practically girlfriends by episode 3. They U-hauled that crap. They were literally sleeping in Scylla's bed, and were calling each other girlfriends. And God knows how long Basic was. Is it 9 months? Is it 6 months? They are in love by episode 5. That is a stereotypical lesbian U-Haul relationship. But if you're going by a build-up, natural progression to a relationship, then that would be Abigail and that would be Rael. And I know some people are like, no, I see Rael and Abigail as sisters, and that's fine. There's just something interesting about the chemistry between these two actors. And like, if you're even looking at like when they show like the little spots, and Taylor Hickson, Rael's actress, is talking about how she was climbing down the wall during Basic, and her and Ashley, Abigail's actress, locked eyes, and she said, well, this is it. This is really something. And I'm like, yes, because they have amazing flipping chemistry. They really do. And when they're in episode 10, when Abigail's healing her, and Basic is gonna die for her. And she's like, I love you, shitbird. And Rael doesn't say anything back and just smiles and looks at her, and then her power activates. And I'm like, oh my God. You know what? That is such, to me, that is a connection that is stronger than her and Scylla. And I'm sorry, it's true. Yes, Scylla and her have chemistry. Yes, they're cute. But Abigail and Rael, they have this like intense, it's not really, I can't really say it's an attraction thing, even though it could be. It's like this whole, when they're in the same space, is more interesting. It is absolutely more interesting. Like when Rael was, and Rael and Tally got on the plane when they're getting ready to go to Elte, and they don't think Abigail's coming. And Rael's putting the stuff, her bags underneath the thing, telling Adil that she's not coming. And then, Tally makes that comment, it's a sad or a horrible story. And then you hear Abigail say, yep, it's the saddest story ever told. Go back and watch that. I'm sure there's a clip online, or if you still have the episode, go watch it. Watch Rael's face. And then she starts smiling, and then and it's just like this whole thing. Like Tally goes right in for the hug, and then Abigail and Rael's just like reacting like, my bee is here. It's just, there's just something about them. There's just something about these two. I mean, sorry. I just see it. And like, there's so much potential, and we don't know this world. This world could be gender fluid. We don't know. It could be, everybody could be on the spectrum in, sexuality wise in this, world, because having a threesome is not taboo. Having sex the sex apparently helps power up your work. And so your seeds are stronger. This is a different world from our world. So sexuality may not be a big deal. Nobody blinked an eye when Rael was with Scylla. Nobody said, oh, 2 girls. That was not even a thing. You know what I mean? I mean, even Alder's having sex with the witch father, and that's completely unprofessional considering, they're like colleagues. What is happening? So I don't know. I just see it. Okay, let me move on. Let's remember there's still spree on the base at Fort Salem. Yes, Carbon, there is still spree. And I think I mentioned this in my last live stream. They're all acting like it's safe. It's like, we have Scylla in custody, but what about the people that helped Scylla? Like the one that was taking on Rael's face and tried to choke her out, or the one that helped her, who may be the same woman or man, who helped her in the Necro lab when they were trying to get Porter's last words. There are spree on the base. You're absolutely right. And that needs to be addressed in season 2. Let's see here. Do you think the Bellwether unit will come together and destroy Rael's mom? No. Abigail loves her mother. I don't think they're going to destroy her. Now, do I think they'll sabotage her? A little bit. Sabotage her mission to get out power? Oh, heck yeah. Absolutely. If Willa has the ability to spy through her fungal golem and as her daughter touches the wall encasing the thing, who's to say that she hasn't advanced her abilities to the point where she lost any sort of moral or mortality, humanity, and willing to do so to others? That's possible. If we find out that mushroom is basically or essentially Willa, or extension of Willa, then yeah. I would like to know what they're actually studying the mushroom for in the Necro lab. Like, what did they learn so far? I mean, they've had years with it, so it seems. What have they actually done with it? What have they learned from it? Where did it come from? How did they get it? These are things we should also learn in season 2. So true. And when she has her arc, get ready for her to die. Yeah, I think Scylla might have to die in order to get a redemption arc, unfortunately. I mean, it's sad because she is a very talented actress, and you don't want an actress not to have work because, when she's dead, she's going to be like Libba. I love Libba. Her and Abigail's relationship, it really could have developed into a really cool friendship. I really hate that they killed her off. But, yeah, she may go that route, honestly. I don't know how Rael and Scylla could ever actually be a couple again with Rael knowing that she killed all these people. It's something hard to overcome. Cheating is already hard, but then you're like, by the way, the person I'm in love with had no problem killing 1,601 people for a cause. Then what else will you do? So it's like, that's hard. That is really hard. Let's see here. Have you watched the episode of After Storm on the Motherland channel? They are like 5 minutes long and provide more insight in each episode. Love your reactions. Thank you, Legend72. Yes, I have. Now, sometimes when I do my reviews, because I have Xfinity, so I DVR mine, and so I'll like let it play for 20 minutes, and then I watch it, and then I just do my review, only because I have to go to work in the morning. So I have to work early in the morning, and I need to be up early, so I want to get my review done so I know I'll have time to do it, and I don't get stuck in one of my projects for work all day, and then it gets thrown in the back burner. So that's why my reviews come out so quickly, because I have to do it that way, or I won't be able to do it. So but I do watch After the Storm. I've gotten a lot of insight. What I like going in sometimes doing my review before I watch it, just to see how close I am to what the actresses are saying and what the creator is saying. But I don't know. Like, something else I found was amusing. I've known this since the pilot, but no one ever talks about it. One of the producers is Will Ferrell. When you think about Will Ferrell and all the movies he does, you would not think he would be one of the main producers of Motherland, Fort Salem. So, the fact that that's never really talked about in any of the After the Storms is hilarious. But I think he even mentioned it in an interview that he was very proud of the project. So yeah, Will Ferrell being one of the producers was very amazing to me. Heights. Yay, Alexaholic. Thank you. So she's 5'4". Taylor Hickson's 5. She's only 1 inch shorter than me. Darn, I'm short. Tally's 5'6". Okay, I got that one right. And Ashley 5'8". So yeah, I was right. Libba was 5'2". That makes sense. Libba, it almost seemed like little like when Libba and Abigail, or even Tally and even Glory were in a scene together, it almost seemed like they could only film Libba from here to here. Because like she's like so short, and I felt so bad. Hashtag bell collar. I love it. Let's see. He knew here before her parents died, and they died when she was 16. Thank you. I'm going to try and say, is it M Sum? If I'm not saying that right, I'm sorry. I tried. Okay, so she was 16. So what happened after she was 16 to 18? Because they get conscripted at 18. So where was she for 2 years? Was she in training? Did they die and she immediately went to the spree? And how did she find them? How did she find their headquarters when the military couldn't find the headquarters? So there's questions I really need to know. Like, how did she know where to go? Questions. Let's see. Yeah, Scylla and Rael were super fast. I'm telling you, that was a U-Haul relationship. Lesbians always love other lesbians in every story. Quarter Life Jam! How you doing, girl? This is, if you don't know who Quarter Life Jam is, she's one of the co-hosts for ATN. She does really cute reviews. She is bubbly. She's one of my favorite people in the world. You will get to know her more because she will be on the channel more. I love her. She's also married to Groove. If you ever see Groove on our channel, he does my Doctor Who reviews. He'll be doing more reviews in the future too. So they're very cool, and I am very happy that you are awake and in here. So hello, Jam. Yeah, it is fast, but as fast as Tally and her boy. Okay, so so let's talk about Beltane. Beltane is like a approved, I don't want to offend anyone if you are actually Wiccan, but from what I'm gathering, it is an approved Fort Salem orgy. It is an actual real event, which I don't think has anything to do with the Beltane version of the TV show. But to me, it's like an approved orgy for the soldiers in Fort Salem to get their stuff on so they can power and recharge themselves to fight. So they have all the sex they want, and they take in that sex like they have. It's almost like they have like sex absorptions, backup cells in their body that stores this energy that they can put into play later on. Which is why when Tally was first getting her like visions gone, and they were like doing the exercise with the flags hidden behind the boulders or whatever, and she was getting them all right like that, and they're like, that's because she was like, supercharged on just seeing the guys. She hadn't even had sex yet. I think if she had had sex with Garrett and they were doing that exercise, she just would have teleported in and grabbed the flags. So yes. Yes. Let's see here. Captain Jack in Doctor Who and Torchwood is considered a pansexual character. Yes, he is. He is. Now in real life, his actor is gay. And also his parents are from the same town in Scotland that my mother is from, so he's got the Scottish thing going on too. I know I don't look it because my dad is half black and half Native American, so I'm black. I say I'm black, Native, and Scottish. Very proud of all of it. But yeah, very also proud of my Scottish roots because that is on my mother's side. So if you love your mother, you love who she is, you love the culture. So very happy to be Scottish. But yeah, Captain Jack is one of my favorite Doctor Who characters ever. So I was very happy that he made a cameo in the latest series, even if I wasn't really happy with all of this series. I like Jodie Whittaker. This is a whole other conversation. I love Jodie Whittaker's Doctor Who, but the writing, it wasn't that great. So we'll just leave it at that. But Captain Jack, it's my boy. Raella, definitely a U-Haul relationship. Yes, Nicholas, absolutely. Opposites attract. Yes, 100%. Will Collar could potentially be a more of a dangerous sociopath than our very own Scylla. So Willa, yeah. Obviously if Scylla killed people and Willa's high up in this spree, she had to have killed people too. We just haven't heard all the stuff. We haven't heard anything about how Willa's even with the spree. We know she is, but like, why? But I still think that Alder founded the original spree. for political reasons to give herself validation to stay in power. But I think it took on a whole monstrous beast of its own and went to a whole other level that she is no longer in control of. And that is why she is the way she is. Like she's trying to fix her mistake, but still keep herself in power and stay protected. And, it's crazy. And honestly, Alder will lose everything if she's no longer general. And it's true because, again, why would you need biddies to keep somebody who's no longer the general empowered? What, you're going to sit at home and drink tea and have these women just sit at home with you and just keep you like eternally young forever for no reason, just to sit there and drink tea? No, she will instantly grow old and die because there's no reason to have biddies. When the biddies die, she won't have replacements. And that's the reality of Alder. So Alder has a ton to lose if she's no longer in charge. So I think her involvement with the spree and potentially Willow, maybe that's how Willow learned about the spree, was through Alder. And that's why we don't hear anything from the military and Alder about what really happened to Willa, because Willa is not dead. So it was a fabricated lie. The military, what? The military lied. The military lied to Raelle and potentially her dad if her dad's not in on it too, which he probably is. So, yeah. Let's see. The mushroom was there when they built the fort, and it is why they built it there. Okay. I must have missed that. All right. So they're still trying to figure out what the mushroom is, why the mushroom is, where the mushroom is. Did the mushroom, was it on the wall like that? Like, why was there already a wall? Like, you would think this mushroom would be like on the ground. And if you can't touch it, then how do they know you can't touch it? They must have had some incidents with this mushroom. Maybe it killed people. I don't know. I really want to know. Season 1 shows diverse romance relationships and different sexual orientations. Yes, it does. And they make it normal. It's why I like the She-Ra cartoon, because nobody blinked an eye at any of this stuff. Didn't matter who you loved, who you were with. The story still went on. There was no real, I need to focus on this. I need to focus on, no, it normalized everything. And that is where I think we need to be in shows. It just needs to be normal. And people need to understand that this is normal. Because it happens outside your house. It happens in the real world. So, I mean, get used to it. You know what I mean? All these relationships happen. So, it is what it is. If you want to see a really pretty LGBT story that has a lot more going on than just LGBT, Sense8, Netflix, one of my favorite shows on Netflix of all time. Okay, so let's see here. Hello, how you doing? I am doing good. Eric, how are you doing? Hope you're having a good day, afternoon, night, or whatever time zone you're in right now. Like in almost all stories and shows, redemption always leads to potential or actual death. This is true. Scylla probably is on her way out. I mean, I don't want her to. I want her to have a long struggle in these seasons. But it is a war show, a military show with fighting and casualty and drama and things have to happen. So she could be gone. She could be a goner in season 2. Really being homo, Abby as polyhetero, and Tally no string attacks gone wrong. I think that this world is on a spectrum. They've never really expressed any type of attitude towards sexuality in this show, other than people just like to get it on all the time. We know one thing: everybody in this show is pro-sex. Everybody's pro-sex. Like us all. Like if they're not talking about fighting and war, they're talking about sex. That is the 3 things they talk about: training, fighting, sex. That's it. I have not heard any other concepts in this series but those 3 things. So they're pro-sex. So it kind of makes sense that they would be on the spectrum with sexuality, because I think most people are. So it's just me though. Alder probably knows the spree are at Fort Salem, because as soon as she saw the Camarera, she automatically said that is the camera and the spree were trying to warn us. Alder's hiding some info from everyone. Yeah, she said the spree were right. I'm like, and I kept thinking about what were they right about? Saying we are the spree, because that's kind of only conversation they've had so far. So yeah, she's hiding a lot, but we all know that Alder is shady. She just is. The show deliberately made us think that it's Scylla that killed all those people, but left a way out to say it wasn't Scylla because they used a separate actress as linking point. Well, they did, but they actually showed her changing her face into Scylla at the end of the pilot. And the girl that they had the red hair. That girl looked creepy. She looked like a serial killer. I'm sorry. If you go back and watch that scene, her, like, she didn't blink. It was creepy. So, like, I see why Scylla took on this face, but I always wonder, are some of the people that they take on actual people? Because remember, she did take on one of the necro officers and pretend to be her to have that conversation with Raelle, basically to get Raelle to stop asking her questions about Scylla, about her life, basically. And then we find out later that this is a real person, and that person had no idea who Raelle was. But is that redheaded girl a real person? And if so, who the heck was she? Was she on like death row? That girl was scary. She was scary looking. I thought that originally that was probably Scylla's real face until I realized, no, she actually looks like, Scylla, basically. That dark-haired version of her is her real self. But I mean, God, that was just weird. That was just really weird. Let's see here. I saw Will Ferrell's name, but I was not sure it was really him. That's really interesting. Yeah, it's really Will Ferrell. He actually mentioned it on one of the, I saw one interview he did when he was talking about a Netflix movie that he was doing, and he mentioned that one of the projects he was producing was Motherland, Fort Salem. So it's Will Ferrell. And I always think about the Lego movie whenever I think about Will Ferrell. Beltane is the Gaelic May Day festival, usually celebrated May 1st. Thank you, Lexaholic. And in this world, it probably is the same, except they incorporate lots of orgies and sex. So Beltane, but it is an alternate universe / Earth. This Earth is alternate Earth. Something else for season 2. Please tell me why. Like right now, me and Quarterlight Jam, we live in a state called Tennessee. And when you look at the map in the opening credits, there is a long line. I forgot what it's called, but there's a long line that's running directly through the map. And part of it is through Tennessee. So it's like our state's gone. We don't exist. What happened? Yeah, we know that there's a lot of controversy in the South, and the South wasn't a great place, especially historically. And be honest with you, sometimes it's not now. But what happened that we were completely taken out state-wise on the map? I really want to know what happened. Let's see. Do you think that there's a song that comes in forms of powerful hexes and curses? Because that would be some interesting information to know. I think there is. I think there's some spells or seeds that we have no idea about yet. We have no idea. I think that they train you for the basics, but what about families that have years and histories and generations of magic? Of course they know stuff, because look how Raelle's mother taught her. She taught her without her using seeds. She was actually chanting incantations when she kills you. So I'm sure there's all kinds of magic they haven't even touched yet in this world. Maybe the spree is like the black drops of the military doing black ops. They could be black ops of the military doing all the dirty work. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time, controversially, conspiracy theory, that the government potentially has certain groups out there masquerading as terrorists to make a point. I'll leave it at that. We may be seeing a union between the spree and the army witches to fight the Camarera. Potentially. I don't know though. I'm gonna be real with you. The spree is its own entity at this point, and it is a terrorist group. I don't know. They are so anti-military that I don't think they care who they actually team up with, which is kind of sick if you think about it. If the spree actually teamed up with the Camarera, and these are witch-hating people who kill witches, that's really messed up. OMG, Sense8 is my top 5 all-time television series. Such amazing story and acting. Yes, it was. And even though we got closure via a slight mini-series type movie, it wasn't enough. I wanted another season. I really did. I really wanted them to wrap everything up in another 26 episode season. But yeah, that's just me. I flipping love Sense8 is the reason I got Netflix, to be real. I tried it out in the past. I did the DVD thing. I canceled it. Then I saw a trailer for Sense8, and then I resubscribed because of that series. So I love Sense8. Cord finally caught alive. You did. Peter, if the Camarilla have deep ties to the U.S. government, we could see the army and spree even become allies. The Cord may be doomed. I think it's already doomed, to be honest with you. I mean, the president... See, that was another thing that I was thinking about. Alder. There has to be repercussions for her puppeting the president. That is not going to go unpunished, because there's no way, unless this president is a complete effing idiot, she's going to eventually say that speech that was made was not me. Something happened and somebody talked through me. And when she says that, then maybe that somebody in The Hague or somebody who knows about puppeting, if they don't know, I mean, who knows? They may know about puppeting too. They'll say, oh, somebody took over your mind. And she's going to instantly say the one person that could be would be the person I was going to fire. And that is General Sarah Alder. So Sarah Alder is in deep doo-doo for what she did to the president. If they do not have that in season 2, then I'm sorry. That is that's bad. That's a plot hole. That's bad writing. I'm just saying. Let's see. I believe that you're being hard on General Otter starting to spree. That's a great deal of speculation. Of course it is, Eric. That's what we love about theories. Speculating. I mean, if she didn't start to spree, that's fine. That's just one of my theories. I'm just saying that if anybody had the know-how, and we were talking about a woman who has lived for hundreds of years, the know-how, who's met people we could not possibly have comprehended in this universe. She has made connections with people that the people in the Today Present series know probably nothing about. Hell, we didn't even know about the Camarera. She didn't even open her mouth about that. So like the training that all the cadets are going through, when they all went in that group to Alte, they had no idea what they were walking into because General Alder doesn't share information. So they're thinking rescue mission. Yeah, there may be some of the Chinese forces because they thought that the Chinese forces were going to be there because they also want the songs from the Tarim. No. They also potentially thought maybe there could be spree there because, you know, the spree are a terrorist group. Nowhere in their vocabulary was Camarera because nobody had that conversation with them because Alder keeps crap to herself. So she's shady, Eric. So I put nothing past Alder. She is willing to do anything she deems acceptable to her to get what she needs to accomplish what she wants. So if she thought she was being depowered, because we don't know what happened prior to this presidency. She's the 46th president she served. Who knows what she had to do to keep herself relevant? We cannot rule that out. We just can't. You cannot 100% say that she has no hand in the spree. You just can't. Annalise says they never showed her turn from the first girl to Scylla, but only that the redhead girl turned to Scylla both times that Scylla took on someone else's face, showing her turning back, but never there. Okay, so Annalise, remember when Raelle is going to Scylla's room and you see the redheaded girl in Scylla's room looking at the balloon in the mirror and she's doing this thing with her head. And then she hears somebody walking down the hallway. So she grabs the lighter. And then when she opens the door, Raelle's there and she hugs her, but you look at the back of Scylla's head, it's still on fire. Scylla was that redheaded girl. She turned back from that redheaded girl. So I guess my question is, who did she base that look after? Was that actually somebody in the spree? Was it somebody that they saw civilian wise? Where did this girl come from? I just want to know. The season is the lead give to Native Americans in exchange for the Bibi magic. Huh. Did they mention Native Americans in this? If so, please let me know where, because that's actually a really cool concept. Oh God, many, many theories. For 2 Raelle's mother escaped the military. I think that she was free since she was in the army, so she just take another witch face and says that Willow is dead. Because when Raelle was talking about her mother's death in the first step, she says that she was turned into glass or something. Yep, and there's no body, no evidence. She actually mentioned that they had to break her mother out and her body shattered or something like that. Now, somebody in the spree could have sacrificed themselves and took on her image. So that could happen. Because we do know that they have no problem sacrificing themselves. So that could have been a thing. Somebody sacrificed themselves for Willa to be able to escape because Willa is the leader of the spree now. Or high up in the spree. I could see that being a thing. But it's just interesting because if that's not what happened, that means the military knows that she was a traitor and that she defected and they didn't say anything. So she's a deserter. And they just let her family think she died. And that's really messed up. Let's see. Do you think that there are potions, tonics, elixirs in the universe if witches decide to work aside from the literal military? Maybe. I mean, like I said, we're only seeing things through the military perspective. We don't get to see the civilian witchcraft. So we have no idea. We have absolutely there could be many different types of witchcrafts, warlocks. We don't know what the warlocks do because we've already determined that the warlocks, that they send, or the male witches, because I don't know if they call them warlocks. We don't see what the male witches do. Outside, I think Garrett sends like birds, like he's able to communicate through animals a little bit. So he's able to send his messenger birds and stuff to Tally's window. But quite frankly, we have no idea. We have no idea what they're capable of. So this is an entire expanded world of magic. And we're getting a tiny little glimpse through a military scope of what's possible. So who knows? I hope that in season 2, though, we do get to see that, because that would be awesome if they actually showed different types of magic. Because the Tarim, they're able to, like, if you look at Adil, he was able to make like a visibility force field and all kinds of stuff. He was able to terraform, basically. He was manipulating like the mountain and the rocks to get into the entry point to where the Tarim were hiding. So like they have abilities that the others don't. And I don't know if that's per song or if they're spells, like rail spells, because that's what I call those incantations. They're like spells to me. I don't know. That's a really good question. The open land masses called this session is given to the Native Americans in exchange for the workings that allowed her to stay alive. Thank you, Eric. So you're saying my land is Native American. Yay! Because you know I'm part Apache, which technically would not have been in Tennessee, but you know what? I'm taking it. I wonder why the president doesn't have some type of items that can protect her from the use of magic. We don't know that she can't. Outside of the biddies and Kalita's song, we really haven't seen anyone attack Alder with magic. So she could have some stuff. We don't know. But she's a very strong witch. She's been doing this for a long time. So, you know, and she's got endless amounts of energy since she's siphoning all of it from, you know, and all the youth from the biddies. So I can see. I think they said that puppeting changes your thoughts. So maybe she does think those are her thoughts. But I think after the speech, and she went back and watched it, knowing the conversation that she had with Alder, I mean, you'd be a little confused at how I just fired somebody and then I just literally promoted this person and gave them, like, you know, complete oversight over themselves, you know, in a speech, not even a few hours later, because she said this evening she was doing a press conference. This is all in one day. That's weird. So I think that even if you thought those were your thoughts, you probably have issues with that, because why were they your thoughts up to the point of you sitting in that chair? That would be weird. I just joined. What do you think about the Wall of Fungus? So we've determined that the Wall of Fungus / the mushroom has been there, and according to one of you wonderful viewers, they built the fort around it. Now, we still don't know what the heck the Wall of Fungus is, but I do think it is a battery source now for Rael. And Rael is a battery source for the mushroom. So they are completely linked to each other. And yeah. And if you missed earlier, one of my questions was Rael's power scope. Since she's kind of in league now, or attached DNA-wise to the mushroom, if the mushroom can produce the virus and infect people, can Rael do that too? We know she can heal it without repercussions, but can she put it back? Because that would make Rael a bioweapon, and I just think that would be very cool. Puppeting seems to alter the president's memories as well to control her, but a lot of people know that wasn't the speech she was going to give. All the rules because everyone is afraid of her. I agree with that, Peter. I think that she intimidates everybody. Just how she talked to the Hague. When she literally said, I was just letting you know what I was going to do. I wasn't coming here to get your permission. That tells me right there that the oversight, or the playing field in terms of keeping each other in check between her and these other nations does not exist. There's no equality there. She's basically saying, this is what I'm doing, and you just could be okay with it, or if not, I don't care. So that's kind of how I looked at that. The male witches make their weapons. I do know that, but I feel like they serve another purpose other than just weapon making. I feel like they do something else. I just don't know what. Because when the witch father came back to help them, he said that he was glad that he was able to bring his guys back because they were being treated weird out in the field. Well, what were they doing out in the field? Like, I don't think they were actively making weapons out in the field. So were they training? Were they fighting? What were they actually doing? So I really need to know what their roles are in season 2. It would be awesome for Garrett to say, hey, This is what we do. I mean, I don't think that they're just there to make weapons and babies because that's a little sexist too. I mean, I kind of want to have some equality here. But yeah, I don't know. They need to be a little bit more specific on the male role, because if you look at Garrett and his wife, she was shipped out. She was deployed, and he was staying at home having sex with Tally. Why? I just need to know. Let's see. Earth, Kalita, Air, Abigail, Water, Rael, and Fire, Scylla. Yes! They are part of Avatar tribes. Now, how cool would that have been if this was an Avatar series? This would be awesome. According to actress who plays General Alder, she said that it's personal win to destroy the Chimera. Yeah, because they hunted at people and they were trying to kill her and get her voice in the box. We didn't learn that. So it's like Harry Potter and Lord Voldemort being alive. You don't want to believe it. Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, Harry was pro Voldemort being alive, because every time he got a sign, he would say, I think he's alive, and people would tell him he was crazy. So, I kind of feel like if she fought these people for so long, and she's hundreds of years old, and she thought she hunted down the last one, and then they keep bringing her evidence, like they show her evidence that, hey, they're taking the voice boxes out, which was the MO of this group, not the spree. You might even possibly consider the slight possibility that they may be back, or there's a brand new faction, because a lot of terrorist groups span others. We had Nazis, and they have neo-Nazis. There's always a group that wants to take over for where the other group or its predecessor, left off. So as a leader, you would think she would be the one that would say, hey, I need to be open to all of the threats, because that's my job. That is my job. My job is to analyze threats and make decisions on how to defeat them. So yeah, I would just like to see that. I would like to see more backstory. I would love to see her backstory. Just like why and I think I asked this in the last review, why was Alder's sister's clothes on the Tareem Elder, when they were going to the hiding location, and they see one of the elders was basically strung up and dressed exactly in the clothes that General Alder's sister wore when she was murdered or hung. That is interesting. I've seen theories online. A lot of people think that Alder's sister is the actual leader of the spree, and that Alder knows that she's alive. That would be another cool twist. I would be down for that. I think it would be awesome. I don't know if they're going to do that, but I will say there's a lot of coincidences in terms of her sister that keep coming up in the show. And her clothes being on the elder of the Tareem being hung outside the boulder, 100% seems to me like there's a possibility of her potentially still being alive. Now, another argument could be said that the Camarera were one of the ones that initially were hunting them back in the witch trials. And so that was just them saying, hey, Alder, and just to taunt her, here's your sister, and this is going to be you. I mean, it could be either or, but I mean, there are a lot of people online. I mean, a lot of people I've seen in comments that believe that Alder's sister is head of spree and is still alive and is angry that her sister sold them out. So, yeah. Let's see here. I thought the virus was from the Camarera in the final episode. One of the biddies got the virus after being shot by a dart. They never specified. Now, they could have done this in one of the After the Storm, interviews, because let's be real. I love Bridie. Bridie was in the finale. Very, very happy about that. But the episode where she was bodyguarding Abigail and she took them off base, we never saw what happened to her. We did not learn until, I think it was either After the Storm or somebody posted the comment that one of the actresses on social media said that she was suspended for taking them off base. But they never had that in the episode. So so many things could happen in this universe, and it's happening. And I don't know if you're supposed to assume it happens or you wait till After the Storm or somebody on social media clarifies it for you. That happens with a lot of shows, unfortunately. But I mean, quite frankly, we don't 100% know where that virus is from. And people will tell me, oh no, they said this in this episode. And then I'll go back and I'll watch it. I'm like, nobody has just straight out said, this is what this is where it's from, and this is, they don't. The one thing we keep seeing is people interact with it. We saw Rael touch it and get it like that. Her finger looked like it was actually rotting off at one point. And apparently she healed Kalita, and then her finger was healed. and the virus just went away. And so a lot of people are basically saying the reason the virus went away when Raelle healed her and healed the little boy in the season finale is because the mushroom wall is bonded with her and doesn't want to hurt her. So if she's healing it, instead of killing the other healers, it killed the other fixers that tried to heal Kalita. They even specified that in the episode where Adele first brings Kalita to the base. Many healers or fixers had died trying to heal her. To me, it makes sense that Raelle will always be immune to it because she is bonded now, DNA-wise, with the mushroom wall, which means the virus comes from the mushroom. And if you look back at the finale, when her and Abigail are walking, it's not just the mushrooms. When they were laying there, it looked like the black virus exploded out of the ground. It was creepy. And then they were walking, and it was they're covered in black soot, and they're walking, and there's flying mushrooms and black stuff swirling everywhere. So yeah, I think it's definitely from the mushroom. I do. I think it's from the mushroom. And so that is why Raelle's able to heal with it, or heal people that have it, and why she doesn't take it on, because the mushroom and her are connected. Let's see here. I'm wondering if Madam President, will later have some charms or wards in form of self-protection. Probably. I mean, she could have one now. We don't know. We always see her in that uniform. I think the only time we saw her not in the uniform was during Beltane, where she looked like Wonder Woman, and she looks really pretty in that dress. I'm wondering if the Madam President will later have some charms awards. Oh, that's what we're talking about, the president. I don't know. Doesn't she seem anti-witch in a way? Not really anti. I feel like the president is scared of witchcraft and witches. Because she's so pro the military, the human military force taking over the spree hunt. She threatened that. She actually, I think even Older was talking to Anacostia about the fact that she thinks that that's what the president wants to do, to basically dismantle all of Fort Salem and all the witches in the military and just go back to having human, or not really go back, because in this world I guess that wasn't a thing, but have human militaries, civilian military, personnel fighting the spree. So that could be her goal. But she definitely, she really came off as being, I don't want to say anti. It kind of feels like she's more afraid. But I will say she did show a little backbone when the biddies were hissing at her, and she hissed back. I thought that was funny. But I don't know. The president's a conundrum to me. So, because you really don't know what she's thinking. And the actress that plays her is extremely good. I've seen her in a lot of stuff. She's really good at poker faces. So, I don't know. But, I mean, I don't think she'd be... I think if she realized that her mind was puppeted, that maybe she would get maybe Petra with hey, take this necklace, it's a charm, it won't make it so nobody can take over your mind. She probably wouldn't be against that, but I don't think she's willingly out there saying, hey, give me all the witchcraft, all the charms, and all the things. Let's see here. Okay. Trying to scroll down fast. Sorry, guys. They're going up really quickly. I suspect the Bellwether unit will break up even if everyone gets back to Fort Salem. For one thing, Raelle is the only witch who can cure that disease. Too valuable to risk even in War College. So I wonder what do you think happens in War College? I wonder what the curriculum is. I mean, basic was pretty brutal, especially when the necro teacher slit that girl's throat and let her just literally sit there bleeding out for 5 minutes. But I wonder, is it more strategy based? I mean, what is it? If War College is a more advanced version of basic, these girls are screwed. Because then the whole thing with City Drop, the whole thing with all the stuff that they went through training wise, it's all really, really aggressive. So I wonder what their curriculum is like. What do they actually do in War College? And do they have internships? I really want to know. As for them breaking up, though, I don't think so. They have to be, they're the protagonists of the show. I think we're always going to follow these three girls, points of view in these storylines. Will they be separated? Probably. And in this case, I won't be too upset if they are for a little while, because they have to work on their own crap. It's not like how upset I was if you're a fan of my Charmed reboot videos when the sisters are constantly separated, majority of season 2. That drove me crazy. But I think in this point in their season 2, if they are a little bit separated, I won't be unhappy about that. Only because Raelle's going to have to deal with the fact that her mother's alive. and this crap with Scylla. Abigail is going to have to face the wrath of Mama and not going to War College, or choosing her girls over War College, and actually almost dying. That's got to have some level of trauma. And then her new connection to Raelle, because I am pretty sure they're really connected now. Tally's going to have to figure out how to become allergic to being a biddy. So they all have their own struggles before they can actually come together. Because how will Tally go to War College if she's like 60 years old and pretty much old as biatch right now? I'm just saying. Let's see here. They did show in the show that the virus is man-made when they were trying to heal Kalita, but never said which man. Okay, so we need to figure that out, because I've seen so many things on this, like so many theories on this mushroom wall. People have think it's linked to Raelle's mother. People have said that it is Raelle's mother. People have said that this mushroom is like this horrible, deadly disease that is like a bioweapon made by the Necro to fight the spree. There's so many theories on this. But there is a weird connection with that mushroom. Like when the Necro, and I have to go back and watch it, the Necro teacher that slit the girl's throat, and I keep forgetting her name. She was one of the ones that was interrogating or helping Anacostia originally to interrogate Scylla. She did an experiment with the mushroom wall, and she looked at something, and it came back and it had all that black crap all over it. So the reason I'm thinking that even if it was man-made, maybe it came from the mushroom wall as a source, is because it also kind of exudes that black crap. So that's why it's confusing. And if you look at the finale, when it explodes, when Tally's screaming or crying for them and they're lifting up on the helicopter and she screams, and Abby says, "I love you, shitbird," and then you look at their hands, it turns like to light, but then black stuff like shoots up, and it looks just like the flipping virus. So it's confusing. They need to break it down. So I'm gonna say, honestly, the reason that Raelle can heal people from that virus, in my opinion, this is my theory, is because it's connected to the mushroom wall. Whether it's man-made or not, whether they used something from the wall to make it or not, I think it's connected. I really do. I think those mushrooms are connected to a lot of stuff in this series. I don't think it's going to be like the black amber thing in the Charmed, where it's the source of their power, but you never know. You never know. Let's see here. The fungi wall is probably a collar monument, which is why it's connected with Raelle, because the Necro teacher looked scared when she touched it, as if she was testing it on other witches and they died. It did look that way. It really did look like she was like, "Oh, did you touch it?" And she's like, "No." But and her finger was really messed up, and they did take samples from it. I wish we could have gotten more into what happened with the sample. Like, what did they determine? Because I mean, it was just gone after she healed Kalita. It was gone. So, and then why was it gone? I don't know. It's weird. It's just weird. The U.S. has given most military power to witches. They barely control. That has to rub a lot the wrong way. I agree with you, Peter. I really do. I mean, it is... Like, I can't even imagine being born as a witch in this world, knowing that no matter what I do, I still have to go join the military and potentially die and become war meat for my country that basically treats me like I'm just there to serve them in the military and keep them safe. Like, I'm a military brat. My dad's a Vietnam vet, but my dad did not get drafted. He joined the military. So that was a choice. He chose to stay in the military. But imagine if, like, during the draft, because a lot of people were drafted into the Vietnam War that didn't want to go. To me, that's almost the exact same thing. And then they went over and they either died or came back injured or came back different with PTSD, and the country treated them like crap. And that's kind of like what I feel is happening in this world, only they're masking it, saying, "Oh yeah, we respect you, but at the end of the day, they're like one less witch for us to be scared of because you're going in the military." So it's almost like a way of keeping the civilians safe from fear of what witches can do to them by keeping them basically enslaved in the military. So I get it. I understand why the spree is angry in that respect. Their motives and how they deal with it and how they demonstrate their frustration and anger towards this is psychotic. But yeah. Okay. Elliot Lawrence said the War College makes basic training like junior high school. Yeah. Like, that's going to be a mess. That's a mess. It's a mess. It's like you want to get in because you don't want to be on the front line, but at the same time, I mean, there really is no good situation between War College and front line. Let's see. And I don't know which episode. Alder says that our old enemy has come at the spree, and the stadium says the same thing. So why, how, and that? I wondered that too. Are we talking about the Camarera? Are we talking about something else? Who is going to be the big baddie for season 2? Are we going to have a brand new enemy? I mean, we could. We absolutely could. I don't know what. It would be really weird in episode 10 if that was all of the Camarera and they just killed them all. And Alte, they just killed all of them. I don't know though. We don't have enough. I really wish they had introduced them earlier as another potential group, not just the spree, because we were so spree for so many episodes, and now like the last 2 episodes we're like, oh, and there's also this group who's crazier. That to me is weird, but again, we are seeing things through the basic military training scope. We see a little glimpse of Alder, a little glimpse of Anacostia, and a little glimpse of the outside world, very little. But we don't really see what's actually happening outside of Fort Salem. So, that could have been something they were, already aware of. There could be another group out there that they know nothing about, absolutely nothing about, and won't know until they encounter it. So that is the joy and the frustration of this series. And plus, Alder's not a very big sharer of information in this series. So let's see. That brings us to another crazy theory: is that Alder made an accord with the government, and at the same time created spree with her sister in case the government breaks the accord. Matia, is that right? I love you. That is exactly what I was thinking. If we're gonna add the sister back into the element or the equation, I could totally see that was their contingency plan in case stuff went, hit the fan, that they had the spree to fall back on as the get out of witch slavery, kind of card. That to me would be a very cool, believable creation of the spree theory, because that would be the best reason to create the spree if Alder originally did it herself. And it would be interesting if it took on a completely different life. Like, it wasn't this group that just went out and killed civilians. It was actually an anti-military group, that they fought the military and vice versa, not basically going out and creating mass murders. And that was not the original intention. Because, all groups kind of morph and evolve into their own thing. So spree could have started off a good concept and a good contingency plan and morphed into an actual terrorist group. So that I like that. It's like, and like Abigail says, and here we are. The spree not killing the people at the soccer match seems like an olive branch to me. But they made them. Okay, so I guess it just really it really depends on your perception of attack. Because like, I'm gonna be real with you. These people are basically stuck in their heads chanting the same thing over and over again. They are essentially no longer there. It's like someone you loved has a neurological disease that makes them a vegetable. No, they are still breathing, but they are no longer there. That is another hell all to itself. So I don't feel like that's an olive branch. I feel like that's just another form of being extremely cruel. I really do. Ellen Lauren says next season we will see what's happening on the outside, especially in a spree cell. So another perspective, that would be interesting. And like I said, what the spree are saying about the military is true. There are just better ways of going about it than killing people and mass murdering people. I cannot and will not ever justify mass murdering people to make a point, because that is pretty much what we've seen in our own world throughout history, and it doesn't work. So yeah, genocide is never the answer. Just saying. So I have another question about season 2. Now that we're going to War College, and I'm assuming War College is still on the same base. Does anyone know this? Maybe they've actually addressed this in the season and I've missed it. Is the college separated, or better yet, is Fort Salem on an island? Because in the episode where Raelle was looking for Scylla, and she took the salva and she's flying through the air, she's all the way up the trees, and you see like, it almost looks like there's like ocean and like different mountain scopes. Are they just separated from all of society? And I know they have to take helicopters and they have to take planes to get to other countries, but how far removed in Fort Salem are they? I mean, I know they're in Massachusetts, but like, where exactly are they in Mass? Are they separate? Did they create their own island? I really want to know how like removed from society they really are. I'm curious. And is the college like close to the basic training facility? Because it seemed like it was, but I mean, I could be wrong. It could be somewhere completely different. I just really want to know what you think about that. Let's see. The witches need a Martin Luther King. They do. I think all of them need a Martin Luther King Jr. But you know, the sad thing about Martin Luther King Jr. is he was a pacifist and they assassinated him for it. So when you don't like the message that you're getting, no matter how just it is, that's still a killable offense apparently. And that is a completely messed up thing too. So I don't know. I don't know. I think the witches and the spree all need a spanking. They just all need to be spanked or flogged with a wet noodle. I don't know. Nobody's on the same page. Everybody's wrong. That's the thing that's interesting about this show is, technically speaking, in some ways, everybody's wrong in this. There just are. Every side. The spree is wrong. The military is wrong. The president is wrong. Civilians technically are wrong. They're all wrong. Everybody is wrong. There's not a lot of right. So yeah, that's why I love this show. It's not black and white. It is all gray. It is absolutely all gray area. But that being the case, I think that, and I'm just going to say this, I think season 2 has a really good opportunity of giving us backstory on a lot of stuff, because we've seen what happens with these groups. We've seen how extreme some of these groups are, but we haven't seen the motivation 100% behind these groups. Like, if the spree is all about saving witches, why? Like, why are you going to such extremes? Who made the determination that it was easier to make your point, be seen and heard by mass murder and attacks on civilians instead of attacks on political leaders in the military? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, the people that you are against are the ones who are empowered to do something about the military situation. These people that you're killing at the public pool and at conscription day and all these different places, of the soccer game, you're hurting them. They have no ability to change the climate. The only thing that you are accomplishing is making yourself look like terrorists. No one's taking somebody seriously that's dangling a baby in a shark's mouth. It's just what it is. It doesn't make sense. So yeah, activism is a great thing. I love activism. I do it myself, but at the same time, you don't kill people and hurt people to make people see that you're right. Let's see. What way can the spree peacefully resist? The military are executing dodgers. Peaceful dissent is being met by brutality. The army created the spree through their own actions. All right, so Peter, that way of thinking is how we have terrorist cells. That is not how human beings should react. What other way can I get you to save the environment? Well, you won't save the environment, so I'm going to go to this local high school game and blow up the gym with all the kids in it. That's crazy. No, I do not condone that. I'm sorry. No, that is not how you do it. I am not saying there is a complete cut and dry way of getting your point across to the military, but you need to cut out the third party. You need to leave the civilians alone. If you're going to be crazy and you have to make a point, then you go to the officials that are over the military and you do things to them. I'm not condoning that either. I'm just saying you don't direct your rage on the third party or on the other guys that are actually not in this. These civilians have no power. It's not like they can go up to the president and say, hey, Stop this. Yes, they could probably have activism for it. And as far as we know, there could be civilians working with the spree saying, hey, we don't like this stuff. But I mean, that type of thinking there, saying what else can they do? They can do a lot. A lot that does not involve mass murder. So I'm sorry, I'm not on board with that. I'm just not. We need more insight into the magic of this world and to see if there is any limitations to it. I agree with that. I would love to see what the limits are. Like, I'd love to see the different power scopes. Do we just have fixers, knowers, and blasters, or are there others? And necros. Are there other things outside of those 4 groups? I mean, that would be cool. I would love to know if people could teleport. That would be really awesome. I don't think they can because Alder doesn't do it and she flies around everywhere. So, but I mean, I would really love to see if somebody has another type of ability that we haven't seen yet in the series, because that would be cool. Like, the closest we've seen is Adil. Like, that whole thing where he's able to camouflage is really cool. And I like the songs that they have, that they're basically not teaching anyone else. But who says that the Tarim are the only group out there that have those types of powers or have those songs? There could be a lot of different ones. Even Alder herself says that those sound like the songs from her older days. So does that mean she was from a different group of witches that could do that too? And they weren't Tarim? And then we're looking at a group of people that are sitting on the border of Russia and China. There could be people everywhere in the world that have amazing abilities. We have not expanded this world, like, at all. We are still seeing everything from the guys of Fort Salem. So I think that once they get into the real world, that's when all the real stuff happens. I think that's going to be exciting. Killing people is not the main goal of Spree, but things turn around after Alder Sister's death and Willa takes the command. Yeah, Mati, and like I said, we don't know. I want to say Willa has been presumably dead for 3 years. How long has the Spree been actively killing people? Does anyone remember that? I really would like to know in the comments when they mentioned in season 1 how long the Spree has been actively committing these murders. Bree was just falling into the wrong hands. This is the only logical explanation I have. Yeah, I know leadership is a big deal in terrorist groups. Whoever is leading, like, I mean, this may sound controversial to you. I love history. I am a history buff. So think about Nazi Germany. So German people were destitute. They had no money. They had no power. I am not justifying this whatsoever. I am so anti-Holocaust. It is ridiculous. But this is what I'm talking about with human nature. They had nothing. They had no money. They had no power. They had no hope. And then this crazy sociopath comes along named Hitler and gives them hope. But he gives them hope by telling them to go and take stuff from all of the Jewish people and enslaving them and, basically committing genocide to save them. And these people who had no hope and had nothing followed him blindly because they were getting something. And it's human nature. When you are so low, you'll do anything to get high or get above again, to get yourself out of the gutter. And unfortunately, this man had a huge following. It's like the whole conversation I just said with Rael and Scylla. Like, people will they will say things to you. And I have seen this. This is not me making this up. When you mention that you think Scylla is not a good person, or you think that she has done some horrible things and that Rael shouldn't be with her, or anything on that scope, people will attack you online. Trolls will come, like, they come for you over a television show with characters that don't actually exist. And that is basically the nature of man. So that doesn't shock me. It doesn't shock me that the Spree started off one way and ended up getting a leader that inspired them to do more and to get their message across and convince these people who probably never would have done this, in any other scope of imagination, any other form or time in their lives would they ever have thought of killing people to make a point. But this person told them, hey, this is what we need to do, and this is how they listen to us, and this is what works. And they swallowed the Kool-Aid. And it's just what it is. It's sad, but it's what it is. Maybe Rael and Abigail will work through the mushroom wall and be there before the chopper lands. I wonder how they are going to get out all the time. Now remember though, and this is just me, I'm not 100% on this. When Adil was bringing Khalida to Fort Salem, remember they were in China, like on the border of China and Russia. and they went to one of the outposts for Fort Salem, because those were Americans that they ended up on the base with, but they were not at Fort Salem. So technically, if Rael and Scylla can find one of those outposts, won't they get transferred back to Fort Salem too? Before the Chinese find them? Because if the Chinese find them, they're trespassing. That basically could start a war. That's a declaration of war when you are in somebody else's country, militarized in somebody else's country. That is a declaration of war. So they have to be found by their own people and not by the Chinese in this case. I would love to have seen the expression on the actress's face who was playing president, because when the lightning struck, I think the president forgot who was talking to. Yeah. That was funny though. But I mean, the funniest thing with the president is when the biddies were hissing at her and she hissed back. I thought that was hysterical. I really did. Because honestly, I think that's the one thing that bothers me about the biddies is the hissing. It really is annoying. But yeah, I would have liked to have seen that. I think that would be kind of cool. I don't know. I think season 2 is going to set up for a lot of stuff. I also wonder I want to know who Tally's father is. Like, I feel like, because she's from a whole group of people, our whole society that's all women. So like, where are the men? Do they just get into these 5-year commitments and then drop them and they're not allowed to see the kids anymore? Are they like sperm donors? I don't understand. I don't understand how they're there, how the kids are there. So I would like to know more about, I think Tally's family probably fascinates me the most, honestly. I really do. I think her family really does fascinate me the most. I wonder where Alder comes from, because when she's talking to the Hague, they all listen to this rare seed that none of them know except Alder mentioned it's in her blood. Yeah, Carbon. That's what I was saying. I wonder if she comes from like a society or group of witches that were like the Tarim, and maybe she was the last member unless her sister was alive. That would be interesting though. I do hope we get a lot of backstory. It's hard because this season 1 only had 10 episodes. They had a 10 episode order. I don't know if they've ordered another 10, if they've increased it to 15, to 16, to 20. Freeform is weird that way. If you ever watch like Shadowhunters, which was a good show based on the Cassandra Clare books that they canceled, they went from a very short order to season 2 with a longer showrun order. I'm hoping we get that because it was renewed really quickly. I'm hoping we get that, but I don't know. It could be another 10 episodes. So it's hard to do everybody's backstory in 10 episodes and then actually continue with a plot too. It's hard. It is hard. It's not impossible if done correctly, but you don't want to accuse them of being rushed. Like some people felt like the season finale was rushed for Motherland, and I don't think that's true. I think I like the pacing because it reminded me of a soldier going off to their first battle. So everything went kind of slow, then everything just hit the fan like really quickly. And I think that's pretty much how battles are. So I kind of like that idea. But I don't know. I would just love to see, like, honestly though, I think Tally's family probably interests me the most, only because what do we know? I mean, we don't know anything. We know that they're all women. We know that her mother's sisters both died in the war. So she got a pardon, and she got a pardon for Tally because she was the last in her line. But so was Rael, isn't she? When we looked at the episode where they were looking at their family trees, their family lines, it didn't look like there was anybody that, that Rael was related to, like no cousins or anything. It looked like she was the last in her line. So why didn't she get a pardon? And Abigail is definitely the last one in her line. So why didn't she get a pardon? Just so many questions I have. Let's see here. Elliot Lawrence said that in season 2 there will be a civil war leading to a war world. Is it a world war? Wow. All right, that's cool. Also, the same I was wondering if the woman only moved there with the female children after having them, and the men get all the boy children. That could be, actually. Huh. So then now I wonder if the boy children are only raised by male witches. Oh, that's so segregated. That's weird. It's like for a world that's so open about sexuality and sex, you would think that they would be more open with gender equality too. But what do we know? This is still a world we're trying to figure out. Let's see here. I know I missed something. I'm sorry, guys. All right, so somebody else asked about puppeting too. Yes, puppeting was, so they said the Hague outlawed puppeting. But I wondered if that actually applies to Alder, since again she likes to tell the Hague what she's doing and doesn't ask the permission. So is it really outlawed for her? Because she doesn't seem to really listen to them. I don't know. That's interesting. I wanted to see Alder's reaction to learning a cadet cured Kalita, confronting Adil, overturning them in. Hey, Bridie, how you been? All not seen because the finale did not have. I know. Well, so they did mention it though. Remember, like they did mention like she, and I even think they mentioned it in episode 9. Alder implied that she knew that a cadet was instrumental, because remember when Kalita and her were having that little showdown and Kalita was getting ready to make all the stuff shake again, and Alder said, watch yourself, I saved you, and she said, well, not you specifically. Yeah, Alder knows Raelle did that. She knows, she absolutely knows. And then again when they were in episode 10 in the finale, Adil says she healed Kalita. She can heal this boy too, or your son, whoever he was to the woman too, when they were in the cave. And then Raelle proceeds to heal the little boy. Alder was standing there watching that whole conversation. So unless she is stupid, she knows Raelle did that. She knows. Bridie though, I am so happy Bridie was there. I want Bridie to be like promoted to a regular in season 2. I really do. I love Bridie's story. I love how noble Bridie is. The fact that she lost her sister and she refused to have her eye fixed as penance for feeling responsible for leaving her there and not saving her. I mean, she's got like a lot of depth. I like Bridie a lot. And I want her to continue to train the girls. Like, I want not just Abigail, like train the girls on how to survive this military life, because she seems to know what she's doing. So I like Bridie. Bridie's a really cool character. But I do agree that the finale didn't have time to do everything. But I mean, we didn't expect everything to come out. It would be really weird if 10 episodes, every mystery you had by episode 10 was resolved. They don't even do that in anime. But I don't know. I kind of feel like it gives us a good, like, especially if they do the Civil War to World War thing, it gives us a good basis on everybody. Like, think about the best way to do a backstory this way, if they start having a civil war, is to have them flash back on their lives in one of the most dangerous moments that that are happening. So say like Tally's like pinned down and she starts flashing to her back, her past or whatever. Then we start seeing memories from the past about her during a battle. That would be cool. That's a good way to segue in different types of backstories, naturally, without us having to have an entire episode on one character. I think it would be cool to naturally do it that way. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to do that though. We'll see. I just want to know. I need to know. I guess we just need to know more about really about the world itself, like the powers, the parents. Like, are male witches just prone to be with male witches, as their children, and female to female? Why do the male witches fight? If they do fight, why are they not deployed with the females? It's just something I really would like to know. Let's see. Raelle has a father, and we know him equals clear. Tally, we don't. Dark, as you said before, and Abigail has many fathers equals a mess. Yes, that is a mess. There's too many. It's like My Four Dads. Sounds like a weird rom-com or sitcom, My Four Dads. Yes, we can expect anything and everything from season 2. Yeah. So I told you some of my theories, guys. Now I'm going to look to see what you guys are saying, because I like the questions you're asking. What do you think would make this show even better in season 2? I mean, what are some of the things that you would like to see happen in season 2? And I'm going to look up here too, and I think I saw a few. Besides them needing a Martin Luther King. Everyone needs a Martin Luther King. Okay. I do see somebody said that they would like to see more of magic worked into the world. So yeah, that Because I wonder if the songs or the seeds are the only magic that most of the witches have. I really want to know if there's like more of like a Rael type situation where they just have a spell, they chant the spell. How did they know those spells, were a thing? Is this something only Rael's family could do? I would love to know that. I would love to know what makes Rael Rael. Like what makes her family like that. We know that they're poor. They come from a very poor area. So did they do like some poor country magic? Because I think that's what Abigail caught. I don't want that country crap on me or something like that. Let's see. I would like to see Alder die in season 2. Carbon. Yeah. I don't think she's gonna die. It would be interesting if she turned. If she got so disenchanted by the military and the president that she ended up being worse than the spree, that would be interesting. Maybe only one with Tally's family does female division happen. I'm hoping that's true, but again, the males don't fight with the females. We really need to know why that is. We really need to have some insight into what's up with that. Camera has probably spent the last 100 years infiltrating the government and preparing for war. Now that the secret is out, civil war is probably unavoidable. I agree with that. Yeah. I mean, I don't know where else they can go except for civil war, honestly. I mean, it's to the point now where, they can't keep going the way they're going because they're not getting anywhere in terms of, if you're trying to stop the Camarera from taking people's the vocal cords, you've already failed because they've done it. They've created, like, as they say, mutated copies, horrific copies of the work that the witches do. So it's horrifying. And I don't really see how you can just continue to say, okay, let's infiltrate them. Let's figure out what they're doing. Let's get some intel. Now, it's too dangerous to get intel. You just need to figure out where the Camarera are, capture them. If you go to war, unfortunately, they're probably going to kill them. And it's just what it is. It's a mess. It is a mess. But I will say the Camarera are not, which is interesting, they're not killing civilians, even though they're human themselves that hunt witches to make a point. They're killing witch. So really the Camarera is basically the yin to the yang with Spree. Spree is using civilians to make a point, and the Camarera are killing witches to make a point. They are essentially the same group. I mean, they really are. They just have extreme ways of handling it and extreme methods. Like, the Camarera do not want witches around at all. That's even worse. The Spree doesn't want to have witches in the military being enslaved. Very valiant cause. Very crappy way of activist or being an activist for it. I want to see Rael and Willa meet early in the season and then see the repercussions through the rest of the season. Yep. And that might happen too. Because if Abigail and Rael can't escape Elte by themselves, or Alte, then it'll probably be Willa that sends the Spree to get them. And I don't know what will happen to Abigail since they're holding hands. She's going to have to go too. I don't know. That's going to be weird. That whole thing is going to be weird. What about Anacostia? My theory is the same. I want to know what you guys think about Anacostia, but you already know what I think. I want her to be a double agent to take the Spree down from the inside. That's what I want to happen with Anacostia. I would like to see the unit break off from the military and create their own group to take Alder down. J-Man, that would be awesome. What would they call the group? We are the Bellwether. We are the Bellwethers. No, I guess they wouldn't be the Bellwether unit. We are the unit. We are the unit. That would be cool. I want to know why the Camarera doesn't like Alder. Well, I think it's because she's a witch, and because of her, she created the accord that put the witches in the military, therefore protecting the witches from people like the Camarera because they work for the government. So that's my theory on why they don't like it, because she's unattainable because she's in power and she's protected by the government umbrella as the general. Even though they did probably try to kill her anyway. It's possible that Rael's Christian beliefs are similar to the Camarera's magic, who are likely a twisted Inquisition-like version of Christians. That may be why the disease responds to her. Could be. I mean, there's so many theories on that. I think that's probably one of the overall things I want them to answer. What is up with that flipping disease and that flipping mushroom? And why was Willa cooking mushrooms in the finale episode? Is that signifying a connection to the mushrooms? Is she able to see her daughter through the mushrooms? Like, she's stirring the mushrooms around and her cooking the mushrooms, casting a spell, making the mushrooms save her daughter? I don't know. That's a good theory, though, that Willa actually saved Raelle, and therefore, since she was connected to Abigail at the time, Abigail threw the mushrooms. Because we don't know what the heck Willa can do. We know that Petra said that Willa used unconventional ways, to do things. She had unconventional ways of healing people and doing things, a lot like Raelle. I'm pretty sure Mama didn't teach Raelle everything, so maybe Mama is the one that sent the mushrooms to save baby girl. Who knows? Let's see. I saw something that said there are a few male witches born, so they do not fight to protect them for breeding. Okay. It's interesting that the Kings, Phillips, and Henry started or funded this camera because these two were actually very religious. Yeah. I thought that was interesting too, but remember, they're very religious in our world. They could be completely different in the Motherland world. This is a completely different Earth. So think of it from a comic book perspective. This is the multiverse. We're on Prime Earth. Motherland, Fort Salem is Earth 1 or Earth 2. So they're completely countered what we would think of in terms of personalities and things like that. So for instance, if we had a Raelle, an Abigail, and a Tally here in Prime Earth, they could be completely different than their counterparts that we're used to in Motherland, Fort Salem on Earth 1 or Earth 2. So you got to look at it from that perspective. So the King, Philip, and Henry could actually be completely sociopaths and crazy in their world. So we don't really know. That's the beauty of this world. It is another universe, a completely different world. And it's almost like, if you believe in like the multiverse theory, it's just like two worlds, or there was one world and one decision was made that diverted into two separate worlds. So like when the Salem Accords happened, all of the witches were basically persecuted until it was basically ruled that the Salem witch trials needed to stop because they were inhumane, which quite frankly, that should have been the case all along. And then they just stopped doing it. But in Motherland's world, they didn't get to the point where they stopped killing the witches or people they thought were witches. And instead, what stopped it was the accords that were made. And that, piece of paper made these two universes split into two separate worlds, or this one universe split into two separate worlds. So we have our world, and then we have Motherland's world that has witches, actual witches, and an accord. And then their Salem witch trials basically ended with the accords, and ours just ended because people realized it was crazy. So, yeah, I think the multiverse plays a lot. So when you talk about Motherland, Fort Salem, you got to think about the fact that they're not reflective of our Earth. It's not things that we would see on our world. Like when you watch a CW Arrowverse show, you look at something like The Flash, or you look at Supergirl or Black Lightning, even though metahumans are like, something that's completely outside of our scope of not imagination, but of reality. Everything that happens within it, like politics, healthcare, all this stuff is the same. They have the same president. They have the same issues we're having. They deal with the coronavirus. All this stuff is really happening in the scope of their world. Of course, it shut down their filming, but if it had been in the actual storyline, they would have included it because they reflect things that are happening in our world today. Motherland, Fort Salem will never have that because their world is not us. They don't have a coronavirus. They don't have President Trump as president. They don't have they have a female president. We've never had a female president in the States. So, yeah, completely different universe. Completely different. Let's see here. So I think also about Anacostia, she will infiltrate the spree to understand them and to protect Scylla. Yeah, I don't think that Anacostia hates Scylla. I think she does see some good in her. I just think that she realizes that Scylla is severely messed up, because she is. I think even Raelle says she's just messed up. She has good in her, but she's messed up. She's not all messed up, I guess. Yeah, I think one of the biggest stories I think is going to be, honestly, if we're going into season 2, I do think it's going to be Anacostia infiltrating the spree. And then I guess if we're talking Civil War, all the acts that lead up to the Civil War. So yeah, we probably will see more spree, especially if Anacostia is infiltrating them. We'll see, and we're looking at it's a spree cell because they don't have an organized leader. Then more than likely they are. Maybe that is a hint by Elliot that we are going to see Anacostia in the spree next season. That would be so cool. I'm sorry. I am so down for her playing double agent, especially if it doesn't look like she's a double agent initially. That would be cool. And her having to go up against a bellwether unit, if there is a bellwether unit, would be interesting. And then Raelle finding out that her mother is actually in charge would be crazy. Like, all of that has potential to be even crazier and better than season 1. So season 2 is going to be insane. It's going to be insane. The review, I am so looking forward to the reviews on that, because I'm sure the theories are going to go all over the place. It's going to be completely crazy. Let's see. All right. I'm going to do a few more questions because I know it's getting late, and some people on here I think have work in the morning. I don't know what time zone you're in. It is 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, my time, but I'm sure it's probably a lot later for some people. But having said that, I do want to know, generally overall in season 2, with our protagonists, with Raelle, with Abigail, and with Tally, what do you think is going to happen from your perspective to make season 2 epically better than season 1, even though season 1 was pretty good? What do you think is going to happen with these 3 girls as a unit? Not individually. Do you think they are going to keep their bond? Are they going to keep their friendship? Are they going to separate? And if so, why? That's what I want to know. And let's see here. And also, will Alder run for president? Like, that would be hilarious. Probably not, because then she'd only have a short term, and then she'd be out of power again. Have a great day. It was great talking to you again. Are you leaving, Eric? Yeah, we're about ready to wrap up too, because I don't want to keep you guys on here all day, and I'm sorry. But yeah, have a good day, Eric. And anybody that has to go, please go. And if you can, when you can, leave a comment below. I just want to know what you guys think. And Nicholas, no problem. I have to get stuff from my spouse and my daughter all the time, so I try not to do it when I'm on screen. But I understand completely. I see Anacostia and Scylla becoming very good friends. Anacostia helping Scylla become a better person. All right, Junior, I can see that. I think, like I said, Scylla has to go through a very major redemption overhaul because she's done some horrible things. So yeah, I'm down for Anacostia leading the Bring Scylla to the Light campaign. Okay, and we have... What do you think about Tally, though? I think Tally's going to get her youth back, but do you think she's going to try to leave the military? I don't think that she would, but she has that out. She was pardoned. She could actually, have her mother basically follow through on that and then leave the military altogether. I do like the idea of them forming their own unit. I think that's a very cool idea. Especially, but I guess they would be Dodgers too then. And then I think Abigail would go down in history as the first bellwether to be a deserter. That would be interesting. It's complete, and I mean, to me, I like it because it's actually further 180 from her original character. Like, she first started, bring pride to the family, don't do anything to tarnish the bellwether name, to being the one that's the rebel and the outcast of the bellwether clan and being the last bellwether. It would be like the bellwether lineage and legacy would end with her. And that would be interesting. I don't know. What do you guys think? Five episodes? Okay. I like that idea. So 5 episodes before we see all of them reunite together. Okay. I wonder though, will they go to War College, or will they just say forget all of this crap and just run away? Will the 3 of them run? And then how would that, I wonder what the outcome of that would be, because they wouldn't be with Spree, but they wouldn't be with the military. What would they be? That'd be interesting. Oh yeah, the matrifocal community would definitely be one of the first ones to fall. You're absolutely true. Which is so, what's so interesting is that they went after bellwether women of child, rearing age, Why not just take out all the guys? If that's what they're there for, and they're in shortage and high demand, why not take out the guys? Just a thought. I'm for Tally siphoning information, songs, spells, incantations from Alder and the biddies' mind so she can be more effective for her unit when she gets her youth back. I like that. I like that a lot. If she's able to do that, that would be very cool. I don't know. I just wish I knew how their transfer worked. It seemed like the biddies could use Alder's abilities, like when they liquefied that one comer and then they split one in half, or I think Alder split one of them in half. I would love to know if that's all them sharing Alder's abilities, or if that's seeds that they already have and the Alder pulls from them. Because, yeah, Alder's very powerful, and she's immortal. But I'm pretty sure she only had like certain abilities to begin with. So everything that she has now, is that from the biddies themselves, or do they get power-ups from Alder? That would be interesting. I really would like to know how that works. I feel Talia is going to leave and go home to her mother and tell her she was right, but her mom is going to tell her about her family lineage and motivate her to go back. Yeah, well, I know Tally's mother is anti-military. I mean, 100% anti-military because she lost her sister. So she hates everything about the organization. So I really wonder how that plays out, though. Like, how does that play out? Like, would you tell your daughter something that would just make her change her mind? Or would you just be like, oh, yes, darling, you coming home was a great idea. Don't ever go back to that evil place and stay here where you belong. So I don't know. I mean, how's her mother going to feel if she finds out she's a biddy and they can't reverse it? I mean, her mother's going to explode. Maybe that's another way that Tally gets out of it. Her mother gets a court order and says, this is the last person lineage in my family and you can't have her. I don't know. That's difficult. That is difficult. God, there's so much potential there, though. There's so much. I really like the idea of Tally rejecting the biddy life biologically, and they have no choice but to return her youth to her and find someone else because she can't handle it. I think that would be cool. I don't know how Tally would get along with the other biddies. They're like a hive mind, like the Borg, but I just feel like it would be weird because she's got a split loyalty and the other biddies don't. The other biddies are 100% loyal to Alder, but she's also loyal to the Bellwether unit. So how does that work? Because I feel like she's always going to choose to help, Raelle and Abigail and, over Alder. And maybe that's another reason why she's not a good candidate for biddy. But yeah. These were all of my theories going into season 2, all the questions that I had. You guys have had amazing questions, and I know it's late, so I'm going to cut this off and let you guys get on with the rest of your morning, your afternoon, your night, and your day. But I love you guys being in these chats with me. I learned so much from you guys. I hope that you like some of the theories and some of the questions that I have. And I cannot wait for us to be talking again with season 2. I am going to do some live streams on some of the other shows and movies that I watch. And one will be coming up. I am going to be doing it's going to be a Catra Evolution and Dora video because there has been some questions if you watch She-Ra about why the two of them were made into a couple in season 3 and nobody saw it coming. So I'm going to do a video about that because I kind of saw some remnants of that even in season 1. So I'm going to do a video about that. Yes, I am going to watch Tangled, the animated series. Is that on Nickelodeon or Disney? I think I have both, though, so I probably should be able to do on demand. But I need to check that out because if you're telling me that that's Raelle, I need to see what that's about. But yeah, I will have some more videos coming out. And again, I'm going to have my upload video coming out, too. If you watch the Amazon Prime series upload, I have questions on who tried to kill Nathan Brown. So that is my video that's coming up next. So please check that out. And if you have not subscribed, please subscribe. And I will let you know when you'll see another live stream update probably for next Sunday. And I'll have the topic for you when I'm closer to that date. But have a great evening, great night, great morning. Thank you, Disney. I will check it out. Love you guys and bye.